Welcome back to the Living for His Glory podcast. I have a special guest here with me today, Cole Barrett. Now, if you pay a lot of attention, you know that me and Cole have the same last name. That's because I am unfortunately related to him, blood related to him. He's my cousin. And I don't just bring him on here because he's family, but he really does have an amazing story that I think is going to be amazing. And we'll get into it. And
100%.
I think it'll connect and hit really well.
I hope so.
He really does have a story that I think is, at least in the grand scheme of majority of people, stronger than mine and more relatable than mine.
Yeah, I hope it does reach some people. I never think I had a rough childhood by any means. I definitely loved my childhood. Didn't come without struggles. Being a young dad, which we'll get into that. I'm happy to talk, happy to be here. Luke's had this podcast for a while. I've been wanting to get on there. I've been on Barry's podcast. Definitely looking forward to talking. We know each other's stories, but excited to get mine out and go from there.
100%. So I guess my first question, it's a vague question, but it gets things started off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So just overall, talking about stories, what's a really big story that you wouldn't mind sharing that gives us a framework of where you are, what your thoughts are, just your relationship with God?
Yeah. We do a lot with Emmaus. I've said this story 100,000 times, but my big story is fatherhood. Being from, I had a great dad. I've had Barry, Luke's dad, who's shown me a lot of things. We have great fathers in our lives. And I said it in my last talk that I gave publicly was, I think God designed me to be a father. And I hope people see that as well because I had a son when I was 18. It was definitely something I didn't think would happen. My grandmother, she had Barry and dad when she was 17. So that's been a big story with me and God is he's not only given me the blessing of my son Aaron, but given me the ability from the people in my lives to show me what it is to be a man. And I thank him every day for that because I have a beautiful wife and an awesome son and a great family. And I just thank God every day for having our relationship, me and Reagan's relationship, my little sister, from our entire family, all the way down from Papa, who's 92 years old, to my son, who's six, going on seven. And I just, God has been a focal point in all of our lives. We're big Christians. I talk to him every day like he's a buddy of mine. He is, honestly, he's my best friend other than my wife and son. He is it. And he's our number one priority in life. And the story of becoming a dad is a crazy one where didn't think it would ever happen to me, but as life goes on, we get put in these situations, and it's all about how you react. Are you going to run and hide like some fathers have, which we know that, or are you going to step up and be the man that God called you to be? So that's the story. Now I get to run my family business. God's blessed me with that. And that's about it. That's my story, honestly. That's a synopsis of what makes me his family, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Bringing in the fact that you became a dad at 18, you mentioned that you never really thought that you were going to be that, but now it's God made me to be
Yeah.
that. How did that play out in the last, you had your son 6.5 years ago now. How did you, in the last 6.5 years, have you gone from, I don't really think I'm going to be a dad to now, yeah, being a dad is what God wants me to do in my life?
100%. I get to see a lot from what one parent does to another and see the rights and the wrongs. And looking back, I'm like, yeah, that was a lesson that I was being shown. But going through high school, we're all big athletes in this family. I played a lot of sports, powerlifting, basketball, football, all the things, and did a lot of stuff in high school that probably not the most proud of, but never thought that I would be a father so young. I planned on 25, which is how old my parents were when they had me. But always wanted to be a dad in the back of my mind, but didn't think it would be so early. Going through high school, I had a best friend, Brady. I was always active. I had this girl who's now my wife, and I was always super attracted to her. We were on and off there for a little bit, but we dated all of my senior year, into halfway through junior year, and that's when it came out that I was going to have a son. But I never thought that it would be so quickly. but getting to see all the life lessons and looking back on what I was taught, it ended up being like, yeah, 100%. You were called to be a dad. This is what you're supposed to do as a man. Here you are. And our great grandfather, which we've never met, I met him when I was not even conscious, essentially. They passed me around the room and mom and dad left, but I don't even think you ever met Barry and dad's dad.
I did not.
But he left when my dad was 2 and Barry's dad was 1. So we either could have been that, which I wasn't going to be. 100% was not going to be. We could have been that, or we could have been what our dads are, who stick out and are the men that God called them to be. So that's what I just had the right mindset because we grew up in the right community of you have to do this. It's not a choice. You don't have a choice. You have to do this. Here you are. Step up to the plate. Let's get after it kind of thing.
Does being a dad show up differently? Of course, it shows up in your home
Yeah.
with how you raise your son.
Oh, yeah.
Does that show up in your day-to-day life at
100%.
work, at wherever you are?
100% it does. So I get to run the family business. Auto Excel was started when I was 10. I remember when I was 9 years old in December, walking in an empty building and checking it out. And now I've been there for 5, running it for 2.5, essentially. And that comes everyday life. So even the adults that come in who are wonderful customers, they look at me for advice when it comes to something as simple as their car. Now, I've given life advice as well as my fellow team members who allow me to lead them. As a father, you are the leader of your household. So you have to, if you're a leader of your household, why not a leader in your company? Especially if you're called to lead it, you have to be essentially the father of that company. You have to give it the right advice, put it in the right position to succeed, put the people in it to succeed. So that shows up in everyday life. The lessons that I teach my son, even though he's 6 and 7, I'm still teaching those lessons to the customers that come in. Wesley, who's training directly underneath me, who's looking to do the same thing. Me and dad have conversations all the day that we're building each other off of. When that comes into the business aspect, the same as it does in your household, and you should treat it just the same.
Yeah. And that's something that you were really thrown into. Obviously, you were thrown
Yeah.
into fatherhood in general
Yeah.
when your son was born, when you still hadn't even graduated high school
Yeah.
yet. But also, you got your feet wet for a couple
Yeah.
years at Auto Excel before you gained that
Mm.
leadership role. But you're in that leadership role for 2.5 years, you said, and you're not even 25 yet. You
Yeah.
haven't turned 25
No.
yet. How has that been of, man, I'm 24 years old, or when you started working,
Yeah.
being a leader, you were 22.
Yeah.
Most people are just finishing getting their college
Right.
diploma, and now I'm leading a business. I'm
100%.
expected to lead everybody that works here. I'm expected to make a certain amount for this
Yeah.
business, grow the business itself. How has it been to really just been thrown into the fire like that
Yeah.
at 18 with your son
Right.
and 22 with Auto Excel?
I'll say being a father is a little bit easier than running a business at times. The reason I say that is one, I say he's the easiest child, like known to man. He just doesn't give me problems. He does not give me problems at all. But the company is a little harder. One, it's a family owned business. So you've got my dad who owns it, but put me in the position to be a leader. So we've got to have completely different conversations than we used to because I'm still his son, obviously, but I'm trying to put the business in the best position, as he is too. It's a difficult conversation to be like, Dad, I need you to do this. And then he's gotten 1,000 times better with it. But it used to be like, why? And then you got to debate that. But then you've got my grandmother, who's the bookkeeper. You got my uncle, who's a technician. And it wasn't the easiest growing up, which me and Luke talked about it, of being the coach's son, essentially. You go in there and you're a 20-year-old kid when you start, you don't know nothing, but it really, you've got to prove yourself. And that has been the toughest part of the business side is I know what I'm talking about. I'm putting the effort in. I've been put in this position because I put the effort in and also given the opportunity to have the freedom to try. That's one of the things I like to say is I have the freedom to try something out. If I fail, I fail, but if I succeed, then awesome. And Barry and Dad have given me 100,000 books. One of the best books that your dad gave me was his personal copy was Boundaries. So it lays out like, hey, I love our relationship. I don't want our relationship to change, but this is what it is. Like, I'm not asking for your input or your suggestion. It's not really a suggestion. It is what it is. And that's been one of the biggest things is I love my family and and I want to continue to be a leader in my family. And when we're 92 years old and you're 5 years different from me, you'd be 87. I want us to be the ones that people look up to as, hey, we're a papa kind of thing. We're Buck Wethington 2.0. And that's what I want later in life. But it also comes to boundaries. Hey, just because I'm Mike's son doesn't mean I'm just Mike's son. I'm Cole Barrett.
Yeah.
And being Mike's son is an honor, but at the same time, I am myself.
Yeah.
And so you got to prove that being the coach's son, and we start Barry's EOS, and we started these EOS meetings before we even really knew what we were doing. Now we know what we're doing and we're on top of it. But when we first started it, I was just a service advisor, and that's what the previous service advisor and a couple of people, they'd answer the phone or they'd come in, they'd be like, "This is Mike's son." And one of our first meetings, I said, I don't want to be called that. I love my father and I will always love my father, but I am Cole Barrett as a service advisor. Now I'm Cole Barrett as the shop integrator. Eventually I'll be Cole Barrett business owner, but we're working to that point. But that's the kind of boundary that you got to set. It's a change in verbiage. It's a change in wording, and that's all it is. It's an adjective.
Yeah.
It's how you describe yourself, because if you always describe yourself as somebody's something, then you always be somebody's something. You want to be somebody of your own. And
Yes.
so that's been the hardest thing when it comes to the business side. And where in my family, I married a wonderful wife who's always on my side. And even when we have a debate, we always come to the right conclusion. And like I said, my son, he's the easiest kid in the world. Me and him are best friends, and he just doesn't give me any problems. And I know you and your dad are the same. Like, we just don't give each other. Now, I gave my dad troubles, and I was a pretty good kid, but me and him butted heads growing up. Our relationship is 100,000 times better. I can't specify that enough. But like, it just, we're best buds, and he just doesn't give me any problems. Where you get in the workplace, and now we've got a team in this workplace that's so good. Like, when we started, we had a good team, but I think this team is phenomenal. We've got Wesley training under me, who people either think we're brothers. They've even said that I'm his dad before, which we don't look that much different, but I've heard that, and he's top notch, man. Brian has made a complete change in his own thought process, and he's doing the thing. Dad's dad. People know him as the go-getter kind of guy he is. He's just that way. And he's been more receptive to change. Like, he's listening to different things and wanting to change his attitude from being such an aggressor to more of a stoic.
Yeah.
Let me think about this first before I attack. Nana's doing a great job. She gets to work from home now. Eric, our new technician, he's top notch. Him and Brian work together so well, and this team that we've got has just made my life easier. I'm back up front selling, yes, but at the same time, it's way easier to run the business now that I know that I've got the team to put the stuff in place. That if I take a week off, I don't have to worry about what's going on with the shop because they're going to get it done. I just don't worry about that anymore. And we're doing the training, we're doing the right things. I feel we're doing the right things. We've got the good customer base in. It's growing. I see us taking over the whole building here soon. It's just doing the right thing right now. And it's made 1,000 times easier. And when I first started working for Dad and working for Auto Excel, I didn't want to because our relationship wasn't good at the time. And to see where it is now, I wouldn't even have thought it 4 years ago. It's made so much change that it feels like it's been 10 years of change in such a short time. And it's awesome. I'm very happy for where I'm at as a father, where I'm at as a business leader, and I'm excited for what else is going to grow. Because one of the quotes is, it's a biblical thing of, this too shall pass, and that happens in the good and the bad. So you got to be careful of how good you think you're doing right now or how bad you think you're doing, because it too shall pass. But I'm excited to see where it go. In 4 years, we made this change. What can we do in the next four? I'm excited for it.
Yeah. 100%. 4 years, I found out just I'm no longer a teenager as of last October.
Yeah.
Just but even when I was like the 4 years of high school, my life completely just changed and flipped. I don't know how much of that you saw,
Yeah, oh yeah,
but because
100%.
me and you mess with each other at all times. That's a constant. When you talk about you being 92 and me 87 or 88, that will always be the
Yeah, yeah,
constant. That will just be us. I just remember being a freshman in high school and just relating it back to my golf career. My first ever high school tournament, I shot 103.
yeah.
And my last ever was a state championship, and I think I shot 74 that day.
Yeah,
I think it was
30 strokes off.
yeah, and it was a much harder golf course.
Yeah,
So it felt like 40.
yeah, oh yeah.
And just the change I saw in myself from a maturity standpoint, obviously I grew up physically,
Yeah.
but mentally was like, okay, I don't have most of it figured out yet, but
No.
I feel ready to
Yeah,
figure it out.
100%.
But when I was 14, start my freshman year of high school, I wasn't ready to figure it out.
No.
I'll look at pictures or videos I have saved back when I was 14, 15, even 16, and I'm like, yeah, that kid needed some reckoning.
100%. Yeah, nobody has it figured out. Even 102-year-olds don't have it figured out. It's like the game of golf. It will not be conquered. You just can't do it. I heard Bryson say it the other day. You just can't conquer golf. As technical as you are, as good as you are, you cannot conquer the game of golf. You cannot conquer the game of life. Everybody lives a snowflake life. There are always something's different. And I look back at high school me, and I'm like, man, I want to kick that kid in the Like,
Yeah.
I've gotten fights. I was doing the thing, and I was going out and doing stuff. I wasn't bad. I never got drunk. I never have taken drugs even to this day, but doing things I probably shouldn't be. Me and Brady, my best friend, we are lucky to be alive on a couple things. We've done some stupid things, but you think you do and you don't.
Yeah.
Like stuff that I know now that I'm 24 going on 25. I look back at 18-year-old me and I'm like, you know nothing, you idiot. You
Yeah.
know, it's just the way that it is. But you're always going to grow. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
So you should always be looking to grow.
100%. And it's a beautiful thing to grow.
It is.
It's an amazing thing to grow. I think I talked about it in a previous podcast. It was with TJ 2 weeks ago. And it was like, if I don't get secondhand embarrassment from myself,
Oh yeah.
even like a year ago or 2 years
Yeah.
ago, especially 4 years or a decade, like I did something wrong in that time.
Yeah.
I should get a flashback of myself from 4 years ago and been like, you moron.
No kidding. I do it all the time. I
Oh
think
yeah.
back at stuff that I'm like, why in the heck did I do that? But if you look back, you can laugh at it because you can't change it. You
Yeah.
can't get mad about it. You don't really need to get embarrassed about it, honestly. Just laugh at it.
Yeah.
It's comical. I did that.
Yeah.
I've survived it. It is what it is. I've done some stupid things, redneck stupid things,
Yeah.
and going out, and I'm like, I laugh at it now.
There's a level of, so you can do that with yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can look back at your old memories
Yeah.
and have been like, okay, I was a dumb 18-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid. I didn't know any better. I'm still learning and growing. Now I'm better now. But if you're looking through the landscape of, okay, our grandmother, you work with our grandmother, you work with, our uncle, you've worked with another one of our uncles. You obviously work pretty directly with your dad still.
I've worked pretty directly with your dad when it comes to business stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, you guys. I mean, we all work so well, so interchangeably together. I'm on the outside of that, but I'm also not in that same profession that you
Right.
guys are.
Yeah.
Did something different, but
We're a whole different thing. You're chasing a different dream than we are.
exactly.
It's no shame, no blame. It's just a different spot.
Yeah, but with those older people that have known you your entire life and that know a lot of the stuff that you did, a lot of who you
Yeah.
were, but now you're leading half of them and working directly with the other two that you're not leading.
Yeah.
How does that look in terms of, hey, this is the new Cole
Yeah.
and the Cole that's still improving? I'm not that 18-year-old kid again. And what does that look like in the process of overcoming that?
You still got to prove yourself. It's always, hey, I know this. And sometimes it's proven by failure. It's like, this is the way we should do it. You can try your way. If it doesn't work, come get me. And if it doesn't work and they come to me, awesome. But if their way works, I'm going to be there to congratulate them.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of leader you got to be. I'm going to be the kind of person that's like, hey, let's try it this way. If it doesn't work, we have the freedom to try. And if we try and we fail, is what it is. If we try and succeed, you're going to get rewarded. We just set a new record month for June. we rewarded those guys. They absolutely killed it. And that's part of it. And if we fail, if we fall on the knife, drop the ball, I'm the first person that's going to take the blame. I will say this is what we could have done to do better on a one-on-one meeting, but it's my responsibility to be like, we dropped the ball on this. If it's Wes's customer, I'm going to call the customer. If it's Brian or Eric's job, I'm going to call the customer. If it's something to do in our family and it has to do with the company, I'm going to call that person. It's my responsibility as a leader to take on the brunt of
Yeah.
the brunt of the shot, essentially. You take the shot.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. And I'm going to not be the person to dodge the bullet to hit the person. I'm going to be the body shield. And that's what you got to do. And if they need praise, you're going to be the step stool.
Yeah.
You're up front, but you're not. I think it's Alexander the Great used to walk with his soldiers.
Yeah.
His commanders would be on horseback and all things, but he'd walk. Is it Alexander the Great? Because he would walk with the soldiers.
What I did hear about him, he had 10,000 soldiers,
Yeah.
and he knew their names.
Yeah.
All of them.
That's it.
He cared that much. He wouldn't have been able to do that if he didn't walk with them.
Yeah.
And eat with them.
And talk with them.
Yes. Get to know 10,000 people personally.
Yeah. Yeah. The boss is the one on the horse, the leader's the one with the soldiers. That's it. But you got to prove it too, because we'll have debates, and a lot of times people are still like, I'm going to ask Mike. And here's the thing, like, we can ask Dad, get his opinion, but this is the set standard. We have to do this standard. And if Mike needs to come in to assist the standard, then he's the owner. I'm only the leader. He's going to lead the shop. But at the same time, I've been elected to make these decisions. So this is the decision that's made. And then we go from there. But like I said, it's gotten leaps and bounds better. Me and your dad worked on it pretty heavily. I want this kind of respect. And that's essentially what he said is you're just going to have to prove it. My dad respects me. Your dad respects me. You respect me. But it's the other people who changed my diapers, essentially. It's like they see me as Aaron's size still. And you got to prove that wrong, because now I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
Now I'm here to make sure my family succeeds. And I'm not going to lead you down a path on purpose. I'm not going to lead you down a path of failure. I'm going to try to find the best solution possible, and I'm going to get your input on the way. It's not just going to be my way or the highway, because that's a boss.
Yeah.
A leader gets his input of his advisors and his fellow members. So that's the kind of thing that just comes with proving yourself.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it's came down to. Being the original service advisor, I was just a phone caller, a salesman. Now I have to show myself a little bit in different lights. And your dad and my dad and me and Wes had a meeting when we invited Wes to join the leadership team. And they were like, you are just so stoic. Like, I don't feel like I am, because I'll talk to anybody and everybody. Now, I used to not be. But like your dad said, every time I come in, you're just like face down at work. And Dad's like, you just don't talk. And I'm like, a lot of times it's me getting busy, or me, if I'm frustrated, I'm not talking. And that's a bad habit. I've got to get past that. But your dad and my dad challenged me and Wes to make it a bigger priority of being more personable. And I feel like it's helped so much with customers coming back in, customers referring. Because if you go in even to a doctor's office, you don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be there, but nobody wants to spend $1,152 with me every time they see my face. But if you make it a more personable experience, they're going to come back every time. And so you got to do that same with your son, same with your people in your business. They ought to want to say good morning to you every morning. And I haven't done the greatest job of that coming up to this point. But now it's more of a priority to be, hey, I'm excited to be here. Let's get it. Let's rock it. Let's roll. Because if you come in, you're like, if the leader comes into work tired and exhausted and don't want to be there, neither does the team members. So you got to be the person to set the pace at the beginning of the day, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of responsibility that you have, which you have it, of course, but everything that you're talking about here, like that's the father in you.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Like that's where, of course, biologically with your son, you show up with your daily life, even outside of home, like, hey, I lead this. I'm fatherly
Yeah.
in these ways, even though I'd say most people you work with are older than you.
Yeah.
But I show up as a fatherly figure
Yeah.
here. And you were talking about something really similar with me and you. I mean, you with the business
Yeah.
and me with college golf. I did not do a very good job. Actually, I didn't. It's not just that. I did an atrocious job of connecting to my teammates my freshman year.
Yeah.
And a part of that was I'm still a teenager, 19-year-old kid, and a new place,
It's
living
the
on my own.
farthest you've ever been from home.
Yeah, I'm by myself. I don't get to see the people that have kept me grounded
Right.
every day. But new teammates too, because I go from high school where I'm competing for state
Mhm.
championships to a D2 team that doesn't compete for anything. So I came in with a hero complex. I'm like, I'm gonna turn this thing
I'm a
around.
savior. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm exactly that. I'm gonna show these guys what it looks like to win
Yeah.
because I grew up playing with numerous D1 golfers, not just in the city of Lexington, but
Right.
in the whole state of Kentucky. In my all-region team alone, my senior year, out of the 10 guys that were there, I was the only one that is never going to go D1. I was the only D2 golfer. The other 9 guys all going D1 at
Yeah.
one time or another. And 5 of them were going to go D1 the next year.
Yeah.
Like, I know what it's like to compete against guys with that kind of work ethic, with
100%.
that kind of seriousness. And I was just like, I'm going to show these guys what it looks like to do that. And my play dropped off
Yeah.
because I was so focused on that, on being just Mr. Tough
Yeah.
Guy. I was being a boss, not a leader.
Yeah.
And I was the guy on the team that everybody hated.
Yeah. 100%. Like me and you are big Kobe fans.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Dad and Barry have different outlooks on it. Kobe's my goat. But he's who I grew up watching. He's the
Yeah.
greatest basketball player I've ever seen touch a basketball.
Yeah.
And when I grew up, Michael Jordan was on the Wizards. He was a great ball player, not Michael Jordan. But you look at Kobe, to get back to what you were saying, and it relates to most people. He had Shaq. Shaq was
Yeah.
the leader from the get-go. They drafted him to the Magic with a little bit of David Stern magic. The Magic got Shaq. He was a leader from the get-go. He told them to draft Penny Hardaway. Now he's on the Lakers. He is the Laker. Kobe got drafted to Charlotte of all teams, who's just atrocious. They traded him for Vlade Divac. He comes to the team. He's trying to be the guy. High schooler, 18 years old, wants to be the greatest player on arguably the greatest NBA franchise of all time besides my Celtics. He airballs, not just missed airballs, 4 3-pointers, airballs them. Shaq goes up to him and says, "It's all right, champ, let's roll." So he knew then, I'm gonna be the guy. But right now, I'm an 18-year-old
18-year-old
kid.
kid.
But you look after Shaq left, this like he ain't gonna win championship. He wins one more than Shaq. He said in their interview.
Oh,
He
yeah.
That was his most prized possession. Now he's shown as Mamba mentality. He's the leader of the team. Powell's his secondary. And Lamar, but guys now look at him. You used to say he's a bad teammate, but now they're like he was. All the players, even on his own team, he used to fight, are like that dude was the leader. He had the mentality. He had the drive.
Yeah.
He was in the gym before everybody and left after it. He's a leader.
Yeah.
And now he's got, even after his death, Body Armor is competing with Gatorade as the #1 sports drink. Like he knows his stuff. And you look at it like that, like you joined a team as a guy, hey, I'm gonna be the leader. You hadn't proved yourself yet.
Yeah.
Kobe ended up proving himself. You've now proved yourself going into your junior year of being a pretty good leader. I know you're a good leader, but you're going into it in a new light than you did when you first started, and you're playing better.
Yeah.
I can tell you're playing better.
I'm
I didn't
playing.
watch you in college your freshman year, but I can tell you're playing better.
I'm playing a ton better.
Yeah. So that's what it comes down to is you got to prove that, hey, I am who I say I
Yeah.
am. I'm not just talking. Because most people see, from my experiences, you see it as arrogance.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods' famous interview of why would you go into a tournament if you didn't plan on, well, that seems a little arrogant. Now he's the greatest golfer of all. He had to prove himself as being, I am the GOAT. And so that's what it's come down to. And that comes into everyday life, business, fatherhood. Marriage is a tough one. You're going to get to that point of you are the spiritual leader of your household. The wife has leadership They're not below us by any means, but our responsibilities and their responsibilities are different. We have to be the leader of our household, and you have to prove that. Because me and my wife's first couple years of marriage, I had to prove that, hey, I'm gonna do what's right for this family. My dad, your parents went to the forge through Rise of Kings, and now that Rise of Kings and Queens, and now they're doing the thing, and it wasn't easy. My parents wasn't easy. My marriage wasn't easy. And guess what, Luke? You and Haley probably ain't gonna be easy, but you're gonna love each other nonetheless, because our
Yeah.
families don't quit on one another. We've proven that. So it's not going to be easy, but it's all about proving who you say you are.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been doing the last year of
Yeah,
dating. Of like, I've just been trying to prove to her that I am that before we actually
100%.
get married.
And that's what the 20s are.
Yeah,
You're going to make mistakes, but by the time you're 30, you're going to be proven.
yeah,
Like if you're an idiot in all through your 20s, people are going to see you as an idiot when you're 30. But if you're a leader in your 20s, you're going to see it as in
yeah,
your 30s and on, because
absolutely. It builds.
this is kids grow the most in the first 5 years of their lives. I
Yeah,
think the second is through your first 5 years of being 20 and on to even 30, because
yeah,
you're grown, but now you're proving yourself.
yeah, absolutely. When we're talking about being a leader, you talked about your household, you talked about your business, and you've talked about being personal, and you've been talking about being relational, particularly with customers,
Yeah.
but also just how you're showing up with how your coworkers see you, and also just with how your son and your wife see
Yeah.
you. What does it look like to be that relational with other people? Because there's a lot of people. You talked about you have a tendency to shut down,
Yeah.
especially if you're business or you're busy or frustrated.
Yeah.
You'll shut down. A lot of other people that may share that. What does it look like to be still relational
100%.
despite of that?
100%. So they say your parents are 50-50 mixture. So I've got the aggression of my dad and I've got the calmness of my mom. So when I get aggressive, I'm going to try to be as calm as I can and just focus on what I've got going on until I get to that point. I can get aggressive, but I try not to. But that also comes with the downside of shutting down. And being more personable has just made a huge difference in that, to where customers come in or just everyday people. I'm now way more into just going up to people and introducing myself. You just did that for a meeting with Tim Tebow, which I congratulate you on. I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever heard. That was phenomenal.
It was super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you just introduce yourself. And you and your dad have always been really good at that.
Yeah, which
Me,
I get that from him.
100%. You've seen him do it, so you're not afraid to do it.
Yes.
Where me, they said my dad did it. Now he talks to everybody now, but that comes with the same kind of growth that we're going through now. Me and my little sister. It can be a good thing and a bad thing if we're a little bit protective until we feel like we can open up to you. So it can protect you, but it can also be a hindrance of being less personable. And me and my sister's relationship is phenomenal now, and I give her a hard time, but it used to not be. It just used to not be. But I didn't do a good job of showing myself as a good big brother either. And that's what it comes down to. Like I'd talk about it in my first ever talk of how I was seen through high school, which it got better towards the end of high school, but I was aggressive guy. I wasn't outgoing aggressive, but I always had what they call an RBF. Just do my thing, and I was a strong weightlifter. I competed for state, all the things, and people seen me as an arrogant, hateful guy, didn't want to mess with kind of thing, but didn't want to talk to either. I was always pretty friendly with everybody. Like if somebody came up to me, I was always friendly with them. But a lot of people seen me as that, and I had to turn and prove that I'm not that. And I didn't do a good job of showing that, which is a failure on my part. But now being a little bit more personable with like customers, people in everyday life, I'm not afraid to go up to somebody and ask them how their day is. I listen to Chris Williamson's one of my favorite podcasters. I just love his podcast. And he had a guy, and I can't remember his name to save my life, but he's an Asian guy. And he says, small talk them to death. If you want to be personal with somebody, just start small talking them until it gets to big talk. And that's what I've been trying to do. Like customers come in, if they're a long time customer, I know their story because I'm going to ask. But first time customers like, what do you think about the weather? How's your day today? Just little questions, and then you find that connection of what do we have in common? And your dad talked about this the other day. What do you have in common? And then stretch on that, expand on that. So I use Wes as an example. He had a customer that was referred by one of my really good customers. Brad Sidoris is his name, and him and his wife Diane have been great customers of mine and Auto Excel even before me. And they sent a gentleman in who had a truck. It lined up with what I should have done. Like he had a truck, he needed timing. It's very technical stuff, and it was my kind of thing. And I was like, Wes, let me give him something. And so Wes got it, and they found this connection on aftermarket racing gear. And I'm telling you, they stood up there and talked for an hour and a half on aftermarket air filters, shocks, all the technical aftermarket stuff, and they just hit it off from the get-go.
Yeah.
The dude didn't even bat an eye and approve West for 5 grand or worth of repairs. Didn't even bat an eye. And that's what it's all about. Like it's not just about making the money on set. It's what connection can I find with this person? Let me expand on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a good job of that growing up, but now it's a priority of we got to do it.
Yeah.
Because I look at your dad, you found the connection recently, but he knows people because he's not afraid to talk to people. My dad knows people because he's not afraid to talk to people. And you can't go through life being afraid to talk to people, especially as a leader, because that's how you build not only your business, but yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So your job is to fix cars, fix vehicles. It's your niche.
Yeah, niche.
It's your
Yeah.
niche. But what kind of impact do you create, especially by building such connection with your customer? Because it's not a gimmick.
Hmm.
It's not a, I want to build a connection with you just because I want your money,
Yeah.
which does it help with that result? Proven yes.
Yeah.
But that's not at the end of the day why. You don't get so interested in somebody's story if you just want to bleed them dry.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah, it goes like used car salesmen. They're
yeah,
gonna talk you to death, and we're not that. Our statement for Auto Excel is helping people make decisions that improves lives, and that's truly what we're there for. It has nothing to do with money. I'm gonna tell you the honest truth about your vehicle because I want you to be safe on the road. I want to know that you go home to your family safe. If your child is getting in a new vehicle, I want them to be safe. I want to make sure you can get to and from work. Does the money come with it? Yes. I could care less if I got paid 10 grand or 190 for our diagnostic. As long as we gave the correct information, that's what I care about. And so when the customer comes in the door, I want to know, I want to care about what's going on in their lives so they understand that I care about them, not just how much can I get off of your vehicle.
yeah,
I want to know that they know that I care, that I'm not just telling them bold-faced lies. Because in our automotive repair business, it's really bad. It's hard to trust somebody in that business. It just is. The business has done a terrible job from Henry Ford days of lying to you just to get your money. And that's not what Auto Excel is there for. That's not what Dad started off the company for. That's not what Barry helped grow it for. We are here to help people make decisions that not only improves their life, but the people around.
yeah, absolutely. Providing impact.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. That's really why I started the Living for His Glory
Yeah.
podcast. I mean, there were other things that went into that,
Yeah.
especially in its beginning stages that aren't relevant anymore. When I started this, I was an 18-year-old kid too.
It's crazy. You've been doing it for 2 years. That's nuts.
Yeah, not consistently,
Yeah.
right?
You're doing it consistently now.
Yeah, now it's consistent. I'm really on top of it
Yeah.
now.
And school's not taking up so
Right.
much of your time. So you have a little bit more time to do it.
Yeah,
And
I'm glad I'm
it's
doing it.
growing.
Yeah.
People are watching it. I have social media only because of the shop. I don't have social media
Yeah.
anywhere else in my life. They pop up your dad's business with purpose or on purpose. And then yours, they pop up on our stuff all the time, which we follow you, but I can tell people are paying attention to it. Wes listens to your dad's all the time, and then he's watched yours, and people are watching it. So it's doing the thing. It's
That's
still a
word,
little early in the stage,
of
but
course.
it comes with consistency, as does everything.
Well, audience happens.
Yeah,
Like you're talking about growing your business. Growing a podcast is no different. Growing anything is no different.
consistency.
There's a business aspect to doing this, but it's not why I'm doing it. Your mission statement, Auto Excel, has nothing to do, it mentions nothing about profit.
No, there's no financial anything in there, and that's the honest truth.
My statement with living for his glory has nothing to do with financials.
No,
Not a thing. It's having amazing conversations like these, sharing good stories like we have,
100%.
and overall helping people break free from their worldly chains and step into the people that God has called them to be.
100%.
Which
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you use that language when talking about our dads and
Yeah.
what we do as a family.
Yeah.
Where we step into the men that God has called us to
100%.
be. And that's what I want living for his glory to be for people. Like really getting deep and using these stories as connection
Yeah.
points so that we now can help do that, whether it be with interactions, whether it be somebody just listening to this podcast, here's your story, and man, I can make this change.
100%.
Because a lot of people, man, they don't think their story is very inspiring.
No. Yeah, not to override your podcast here, but I would like to talk a little bit more about our fathers.
Yeah.
I look at your dad compared to my dad, and I have a bias towards my dad. You have a bias towards your dad because they gave us life. But like I look at dad, he was thrown into you're the leader, you're the firstborn,
Yeah.
you're cherished, lead.
Yeah.
You don't have a father, you are the father.
Yeah. Your dad has been the father for our family before he turned
Yeah,
18.
and he is dad is Buck Wethington 2.0. That's what everybody's wanting him to be. And he does a great job of it, but he also has been had the downside of when he's told no, not really no, but let's try something different. He gets taken back and he's done a great job of making that change, but it took him a while because nobody ever told him no, kind of thing. They would tell him no, but they would just let him do his thing. And he's done a great job of being the leader that God called him to be because he was thrown into that from the get-go. And he is the leader. Like everybody that knows my father knows him to be the leader. And then I look at Barry, and you can talk more on Barry too, but like Barry is made leaps and bounds for what everybody thought he was going to be. He's talked about, I've heard him talk in his talk at the walk of the 1.97 GPA, never thought he'd be anything, and he's making more money than all of us, which is not even financially that he cares about the money so much. But everybody used to say he was class clown, laughing, never took anything serious, and he is the most successful person that I know personally. And he was called to be that, but it took the military and his own kick in the butt from himself and God. Hey, let's straighten this crap out to become who he is. And he leads your family with power in his own route, in his own way, because he's not an aggressor.
No.
But you all know that Barry is Barry, and Nancy has been a great help of that. My mom and my dad are complete opposites, man. Like my mom is so calm and kind and does not get aggressive. My dad's calm and kind, but he's got an aggressive side, and they bounce each other off handedly. Your mom has great follow through where your dad doesn't really, but your dad does the right thing and your mom schedules his time properly.
Yeah.
And without that husband wife bouncing off one another, we wouldn't be who I wouldn't be who I am, you wouldn't be who you are, and our sisters wouldn't be who they are because that's part of it. And as the firstborn son, it's our job to carry that on and be who we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm a father at a young age. You're going to eventually be a father, but now you're in a new relationship that you've got to lead there. And so I look at my dad and your dad are really, they talk about it all the time. They're our step stool.
Yes.
They're our floor. We've got a ceiling even higher than them. And that's the honest truth. Not saying our fathers are below us by any means, but they have helped us to become who we are and continue to help us become who we are.
Yes.
And I thank God every day for who our fathers are. And I'll let you talk a little bit about it more because without Mike, without Barry, I know for a fact Cole wouldn't be who he is.
No, my dad was an amazing. I've honestly, and I don't know if I've talked about this directly with my dad, but the way I've seen it is like I'm my dad fulfilled. Me and my dad have had conversations about how my dad has looked at me and said, "Man, you're a lot better than I am
Yeah.
or ever was."
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of that that's my mom too, because my mom really balances me out.
Yeah.
Like my mannerisms, my personality, it's very similar to my dad,
Yeah.
but who I am, but who the people that we are can be very different.
Yeah.
My dad also has a bit of the aggressive side. Part of that's just how our parents grew up.
Yeah, they grew up in that aggressive kind of thing, and your dad does a really good job of not showing as much. It takes him a little longer.
Yeah, it takes him a little longer than it takes your dad. But I've had difficult conversations where I've gotten chewed out by other people because they have my summer job as an enforcer. And I've got to tell people some things that they don't want to be told
Yeah.
because they're doing something that we don't want them to do.
Yeah.
I actually got chewed out by somebody on Tuesday.
Nice.
I got chewed out by two people on Tuesday, actually. The second guy went on a tandem and he started getting a little personal.
Yeah.
Not against me or my life because he doesn't know anything, but he was getting a little bit aggressive.
Throw that Y
Ye-
word out, you.
Yeah.
Man, you hear that you? I know I do. Like I hear you and I'm like, oh really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You won't come at me. I get big bowed up. Where it's
Yeah.
like,
I'm long past that point
Yep.
because your dad would, my dad would, and you just admitted it to.
I couldn't have a job at a golf course because somebody at the golf course do that. I'll probably grab their driver and beat them with it. I don't take that kindly from spoiled rich guys. Kind
No.
of thing.
Yeah. I looked at him in his eyes and I just listened to him go. I listened to him talk and I just kept it cool. And it's like, hey, look, I'm not, look, again, I'm trying to meet you
Where
and
you-
respect you.
Yeah.
I'm still, even if you're mad at me and I'm telling you something that you don't want to hear and I don't really want to tell you in the first
Yeah.
place, you're still a human
Yeah.
and I'm still going to love and care and respect you, even though this is a difficult conversation that me and you both don't want to have. But I remember later I went back and to the clubhouse and I'm by myself and I call my dad and I tell him this story. And it was funny what he was saying because I've heard it, but better
Yeah.
because my dad's more successful than he is. I don't know who said it, but it was like my dad would not have responded the same
Yeah.
way that I did.
100%.
Man, I will take it. Partially because if I didn't take it, that's called getting fired.
Yeah.
But also, it's just like a man, there's not much you can say to me that's really going to affect me.
Well, you don't have that. You have it. I know you have it. You've never been outgoing about it.
No, Rise Up Kings helped me
Yeah.
get comfortable with it. But even in my daily life, I know I have it. I've always known I have it, but I now have unlocked it
Yeah.
through Rise Up Kings, but I still never use it because I don't have
Yeah.
to.
My thread is like a spider web, and it's done. Yours is like the big thick string on a guitar. You got to clamp that sucker.
You have to try.
Yeah.
You have to legitimately try. And not only do you have to try,
Yeah.
you have to be somebody that I'm close to.
It has to matter to you.
Yeah,
It has
like
to matter to you.
like my dad can snap that string easier than anybody can, but I still don't let him.
Yeah.
But he can easier than most people. But he legitimately has to try. And me and my dad are best friends.
Yeah.
He doesn't,
Yeah.
but he could. And there have been times, not many, and long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a lot that calm, the cool, which most people may not expect because of how extroverted and
Yeah. And you're a bigger guy.
Yeah.
People will see a bigger guy and they're like, yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
I want to.
Just because I can doesn't
Right.
mean I will,
Yeah.
and I probably won't. I will
I
figure
can,
out.
but
I do not want to get into a fight with somebody.
No,
I really don't.
I'm done with that. Ever since I'm a father, I didn't even want to really fight Chase at Rise Up Kings. Honestly, I was like, man,
Yeah.
I liked the idea of it.
I didn't like any of it,
Yeah.
but that's what unlocked me to get there.
I say it all the time. Like if we did a jujitsu type, like we were grappling, I'd have been a little bit cooler about it. But like straight up punching somebody who's been my best friend for 3 days in a row, straight up punching the dude, it was a little difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the idea was like you go in and it's this guy's attacking your family. If he's attacking my family, I don't have boxing gloves on, just so you know. It's a different story.
Yeah.
That's what I told CJ. I'm like, I'd kill him. But I liked what it was trying to imply. I
Yeah.
did not like the act of it.
Yeah.
But that's what comes
Definitely.
through it. I've been in fights without gloves.
Yeah. Most guys have never been in a fight to the point where
Yeah,
where I did it. I've never thrown a punch myself.
yeah. I've done the thing, but I don't reminisce on them happily.
No,
None of
no. It's something a lot of guys love that event just because of what that unlocked for
Yeah, but
them.
they've never, those are the guys that have never had to do it either.
Yeah,
Because if you've been in a fight,
it's different.
it's different.
It's
Because
very
if
different.
I'm in a fight, I'm ready to take your head off.
Yeah.
There, it was hard. I couldn't get into the I'm
Yeah.
gonna take your head off mentality.
The other fights that you've been in, the real fights you've been in, you didn't know the person, you didn't care about them. You just wanted, like you said, just take their head off.
Correct.
Me, man, I care about every person that I look at.
Yeah.
Some of them annoy me more than others.
Yeah.
I don't.
Got some care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's some people I just genuinely don't get along with. I just don't really
You're
like you.
not going to though, but you can
Right.
love from a distance.
But I do care about you genuinely.
Yeah.
There's not a person I've ever come across that I've never cared about off the bat. And honestly, I've had a couple people that we've gone sideways, things
I get it.
happened, I haven't talked to them, I've completely cut them out of my life, but there's still a strong level of I care about you.
100%.
I just can't be directly with you.
Yeah, yeah. Steve Harvey said it, and it's one of my favorite quotes is people are put into your life in segments,
Yeah.
in episodes. It's just because this person's a really good friend now,
Yeah.
a season later,
Yeah.
God put them there for an immediate purpose, and you learned a lesson from it.
Yeah.
Like I look at some of my buddies through high school, and they said it, and it was always a joke when I was in high school. We had that eye funny, if you ever remember that. And I used to see it all the time. It'd be like my friends in there's always a meme page. And it'd be like my friends in freshman year, my friend group senior year. And it was true. I
Oh
had a
yeah.
whole bunch of friends, freshman, sophomore, and into junior year, I lost almost all of
Yeah.
because one, we talked about it earlier. I used to be a very protective person.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, when we first started dating, I wanted to make sure we were good before they met my parents because I don't want to show my parents somebody who is not going to be my wife. It's
Yeah.
just, I didn't think of them that way. And so that's it. Like my best friend Brady, he is my brother. His older brother Ben is my brother. You are already my family, but you're a little brother to me. Like everybody
Yeah.
that was my groomsmen, brothers. I have really good friends, but like I look at, I won't say his name, but I had a friend growing up who really showed me of this is true. It comes in seasons. Me and him were great friends. And junior year, he grew up in a household that wasn't compared to ours. They had a really difficult time with one another. His sister was 7 or 8 years older than him. She went down the wrong path, started dating women, smoking weed, doing all the things you shouldn't do. The devil got a hold of him. And I tried to take him to church, but you can only present yourself if it's taken, it's taken. If it's not, it's not. And he got to the point where he started doing those kind of things. He was smoking weed, doing drugs. And I told him one day he was doing some stuff that I just didn't like. And I'm like, hey, man, don't like it. And he took it personally. I was saying, I don't like it because I don't like what you're turning into. And he took it as, I'm going to do this no matter what you like. And that was just his mindset. And me and him had a lot of mutual friends. A lot of those friends ended up going with him. Cool. They went down the wrong path. I presented myself. This is the stage I'm going to go into.
Mm.
Follow me if you want to follow me. Don't if you don't. I'm going to love you nonetheless. But I cannot continue to be within that and do what I'm doing and you
Yeah.
blatantly disobey
Yeah.
eventually of this is the steps.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. And just because they're no longer your friends doesn't mean you don't love them still because God created them in his image the same as they did me.
Yeah.
I love you just from a distance.
There were several people in my class that were drinkers. They had some substances of their own. I'm friends and I care about a good amount of them.
Yeah.
I care about all of them, but I'm friends with a good amount of them
Yeah.
as well. And I never was close with them
Yeah.
because if somebody like me just don't get close with people like that
Yeah.
do you don't get close with people that do stuff like that because I'm not around that. And
No.
that's why I'm not close with you because I don't do that.
Right.
Not that it's something to do with you. I had a very reverse high school experience. My freshman year, I had no friends, but
Yeah.
senior year, I had a bunch. And there's two reasons for that. There's two massive reasons for that.
You were a big difference from
Yes.
eighth grade freshman year
Yes.
to when you graduated.
That's number one. When I was an eighth grader, when I was a freshman, I was a dumb kid. I was a very dumb kid. I was a slow learner.
You've always been very intelligent
Yeah.
when it comes to book smarts. Like you've always been that, but
People,
I know
no.
what you're saying.
I
Yeah,
don't do
100%.
I don't do people very well by nature.
Yeah.
I figured it out for the most part. But number two is my mom said this, so I don't know how much truth it may or may not have. She may have just been comforting her 15-year-old kid who didn't know how to deal with things socially. But she was like, the kids around you grew up too.
Yeah.
I've always been an authentic person.
Yeah.
For better or for worse,
100%.
socially awkward or not,
100%.
I'm me.
Yeah.
I've always been me. I'm never going to stop being me.
Yeah.
And when I have tried to be somebody else, the worst times of my life.
Yeah.
So other people grew up and grew more into who they were rather than what was considered cool
Yeah.
by society. And they're like, you know what? That Lucas Barrett is a genuine dude, and
Yeah.
I really like that about him.
100%.
Even if he can be a dummy on the occasion.
Yeah. But we, of course, had a different schooling
Yeah, we had a very different
I
atmosphere.
went to one of the biggest schools in all of Kentucky.
You're right.
I had 1,100 kids in my graduating class, to put that in perspective.
I didn't even have a tenth of that in
Yeah.
mine. Actually, I think it was right at a tenth. I had 110 in mine.
Yeah. And so I had a lot of people that I knew, and I was friends with all groups, friendly with all groups, but you had a different way of people in your community for the most part had pretty good families to grow into.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
Where my school is so big and Scott County is so big that we have all walks of life. So a lot of the people that I hang out with still have really good families. All of my friends have great families.
Yeah.
I used to live with Brady most of the time, honestly, through high school, because there was things at home that we just didn't agree upon. But everybody who's in my circle have a great family. And I look at being a father that we talked about earlier. Every one of them have a good father. Every one of them.
That's an important thing to have.
It is. Mothers are extremely important for child growth. But if the father's not there, after 5 years old, the father is an extreme importance without a doubt. From day one, they are. But from 5 on, they're definitely a main priority. Because you look at Dad growing up, he had father figures. You look at Brady, whose father has always been there. Even though they didn't always get along, they've always been there. Your dad and you, my dad and me, like all the people in my circle have had amazing families and amazing fathers.
Yeah, the majority of my really good friends have had that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple people that didn't have the best fathers or maybe maybe even didn't have a father, which there's exceptions to that. Like both of our dads didn't even have a dad in the first place.
They made it a priority to not do that.
Yes, 100%.
There's a lot of people who blame for them not having a father around, and they fall into the same habits. But if you make it a priority of, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to be the opposite, you will be.
100%. I saw this graphic of dad was an alcoholic and there's two kids. One was an alcoholic and the other didn't ever touch it. And both of them said, I just watched my dad.
Yeah.
Dads are so important like that
100%.
because it's like, I see my dad and I'm like, I want to be that. I want to be that and I want to be a little bit more. I want to, talking about my floor is his ceiling. I definitely see that on just a character person standpoint. Am I ever going to touch him financially? That's a hard bargain. Maybe I could.
Yeah, he's good at it. He's going to put you in the position to do it.
Yes.
He's not going to let you just hang.
No, 100%. He's not going to let me be average, and I don't want to be average by any means. But definitely highly, but even if I was average financially, I would never be average personal or character.
Never.
Ever. Which is more.
Finances come with that.
Yeah.
Relationships build financial gain.
But it's not, that's just it's a
It's an
bonus.
add-on.
It's an add-on. When I said that I was my dad fulfilled, that's what I mean of the person, of the emotions, of
Yeah,
the character added on. And it's in big part because of who he became. And he didn't make any excuses. And he grew into that and then modeled that for me.
yeah,
And that's what's inspired me to do really everything that I'm doing, like whether it
100%.
be with golf, this podcast, following Jesus, making it the career that I have. Like, none of this happens, or I'm willing to bet that none of this happens if my dad did not make the decisions that he did. If your dad didn't
Right.
make the decision that he did, because your dad got my dad out of a lot of it. And my dad told me some stories
Oh
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's,
But at the same time, that's not saying that, and me, Dad, and Barry have all talked about it. Like it comes back to a previous conversation we had earlier in the podcast of Dad being the dad.
yeah,
Like he has three younger brothers, and all three of them look to him as a father still, even today. And your dad and my dad have gotten that relationship to be a little less than that because dad growing up had to be the dad.
yeah,
And so he got Barry out of some stuff. He got Matthew and Brian out of some stuff. But now your dad and my dad are more of the brother relationship. They're bouncing ideas off of one another.
yes,
And they had to have that tough conversation of, hey, I love you, but I'm doing this. You helped raise, but at the same time, I'm doing this. We're doing this together.
yeah,
I'm not lesser, you're not over,
yeah,
and they had
100%.
to have that conversation. And I look at like my mom and dad are, they say opposites attract. They're both great at what they do. They're both great parents, but they do it in a different way.
Yeah,
Mom is, like we talked about earlier, is more calm and concise and loving and caring and making sure her baby's okay. And dad's more get off your rear end and get to work kind of thing. Go out there and do something. I look at what both of them do good and what both of them do poor, and I try to make it, I don't even try, I do make it to the best of my ability of an even split.
yeah,
I see the failures of my grandparents on both sides, the gains of my grandparents on both sides. I'm always trying to compare of what Barry does good, what dad does good, what mom does good, what Nancy does good, and I try to make it my own and give Aaron the best possible way of life.
yeah,
And that's what it comes down to, really. Like my parents came from such struggling households growing up. My Nana, our grandmother, mom of Barry and dad, have great parents, have great brothers and sisters, but our grandfather's side sucks.
yeah.
They're Barretts. That's where we got the name, but they're not Barretts.
They're not what the
They're a
Barrett name
whole
means.
different Barrett that has nothing to do. The Barrett started with Dad and Barry.
Yes.
They are the pinnacles of our name. I look at way Dad is and way Barry is, and they did it in spite of
Yeah.
their father. I look at my mom and my granddad, her dad had struggles growing up. He's an alcoholic. He did the wrong thing. He cheated on my Grammy, who's the sweetest lady you'll ever meet. And how he could do that, I don't know. But alcohol changed him. And I look at what my Grammy is, and she and my mom are identical human beings. And my mom, in spite of her dad, decided, I'm not going to do this. And that's why she is as kind and as loving and as caring and as
Yeah.
gentle and forgiving as she is, because she had to forgive a dad who didn't do the right thing until later in life.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do with my son is I see the wonderful side of my parents. I've seen the rough side of my parents. Don't do that and be the dad that you're supposed to be. And I can be a little bit more stern with Aaron, but I've never ever screamed. I've never whooped Aaron ever in his life, but I've never screamed at Aaron. I'll just be like, hey, remember what we talked about? Good? That's good. All right. And that's the difference. Like, it's still, hey, got you. Let's not do that aggression, but it's also there's no need to overreact.
100%.
Let's calm down. Let's think about it smartly because if you're gonna scream at your kid, they're gonna want to do it even more because they're like, I hate you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it just because you said. And it's the calming tone. And to get a little off topic, Wesley's aunt is Reagan, my little sister's old head coach at Transy. And me and Wes talk, she's a psychology major. She is the best way I've ever seen a coach do it besides Nick Saban. Nick Saban would yell at you, but he was respected because he proved himself. Julie Folks, which is Wesley's aunt, that's how she does it. So she goes to the girls, and if they make a mistake, she's like, think about it. This is what you need to do. They do it, they do it right. I look at Sadie Worth, who was Reagan's point guard both of her years, who's a phenomenal player. She's 5 foot nothing, but she's the best player out there on the court. Julie looked at her because she missed 2 free throws, which Sadie never did. Julie looks at her in the face and says, you make the next 3 buckets. Nobody else touches the ball. Go. 3 threes in a row, put them up 9 points, and they won the game by 12. And that's the kind of leadership that you need. That's the kind of parenting that you need is think about it for a minute. We need to do it this way. And don't overreact. Don't scream. Don't holler because no successful coach has ever berated you and you paid attention to it.
We're talking about basketball, or you
Yeah.
talk about Nick Saban. That's football. I think football requires a little bit. Yes,
It's aggression.
Yeah, with Nick Saban yelling, absolutely. But
But he
one of
but he never was without respect.
no, I got to meet one of the coaches that Nick Saban worked with, Ben Newman,
Oh yeah.
and he's awesome.
Yeah.
I loved meeting him. And Ben Newman, he won a national championship with Alabama. I can't remember what year it was.
I'd be lying if I told you correctly.
Yeah, but one of the things that Ben Newman said was he'll raise his voice. He'll goes, I'm not yelling at anybody today. This is my passion. This is just my burn, my passion, my drive. And I'm wondering, was Nick Saban really yelling at him? Or was that just all that burn and passion that he had?
Yeah. He was always aggressive to a point, and he would yell at or passionate about. You listen to Derrick Henry, who's the greatest running back to ever come out of Alabama. He talks about like Nick Saban is hard to take, but you look at what he did when they weren't on the field. You look at what his dad was. You look at when he does recruiting, he doesn't go to them really. He'll go to them the first time, but then they come to his lake house and he shows them what it means to be an Alabama Crimson Tide. This is our process. This is our priority. This is our statement. We're going to do it this way no matter what. I'm aggressive, but I love you. I care about you. I'm here to win. I'm here to put you in the best position possible to further your career. Here's where we're at. And I think that's why he has such respect from everybody. People mess with him being Alabama Jones and being just tough and mean, but he's more respected than anything because one, he proved himself. He's won 7 national championships. Dude's freaking nuts. But he just proved himself as I care about you. This is the process. This is what we're going to do. We're going to win.
Yeah.
And he's won.
Yeah, he has. That's what's the primary thing when it comes to how you lead your household, when it comes to how you lead your business, with how it comes to how I speak to people,
Yep.
have conversations that me and them really don't want to have.
Yeah.
When it comes to how I run this podcast, what I want to accomplish with it, when it comes to how we're going to live the rest of our lives,
Yep.
no matter what that brings, we have a love and respect,
100%.
and we have a desire not just to get things done, but to help you and provide impact.
And you look at everything that we're saying, everything we've been taught is a biblical
Principle.
Yeah, that's it. Like it comes from the Bible. Like we have God-fearing parents, we have God-fearing grandparents who know what God says. And when we went to Rise Up Kings, there was a guy that we just didn't get along with, and I love him, but he is just the way that I'm not, and we just didn't connect when we did the sandbag drill. He was a very blaming kind of guy. But that's besides the point. He had his own story, his own event. That's on him. But when Coach BJ asked him, what does he want to get out of this? He said he wants to be the greatest leader of all time. Coach BJ looked at him and said, better than Jesus. And he didn't know how to respond. He's like, holy crap. And you look at Jesus, did he have kids? No. But he is the Father.
Yeah.
He's God in human form. He sets what it means to be a father. My mission is this. It's set in stone. My mission is to bring as much people to God as I can. I'm here on earth to save it. But before he died at, was it 33 or 44?
33.
33. Before he was crucified, he made sure that people knew he cared. He went up to his disciples for them to follow him. He cared about them. He knew their stories, but he showed what it means to be a father of this is my mission. But while I'm here, I'm going to show you that I care.
100%. 100%.
And that's leadership. You have to do what Jesus, he did it. And we have to be as close to him as possible. We're never going to be him. We are flawed. He's not. But you have to take what Jesus did and make it yours.
Yeah. Cool. I can't think of a better way to end this podcast.
That's it, man.
I really can't. Talking about the fatherhood, talking about our family, and talking about biblical principles, what we're about, and what's really important. It's just been awesome. It's just been an absolute pleasure.
100%, bro.
I know you're going to hate this, but I'm going to have to shake your hand.
I know. I know.
Because I do with everybody.
Yeah.
But it's been a really good talk.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been great. It's also just amazing getting to have conversations like these.
Really, these are the kind of conversations we have anyhow, because we're both pretty in-depth people like that.
Yeah.
But it's good for people to see that we're not only this way because of the podcast, we're this way to each other, but we want people to see it through the podcast. Hey, we're going to do the thing. Yeah. We're not here to BS. We're going to do the thing. And I've enjoyed it. We've had these conversations 100,000 times, but you're my brother, even though you're my cousin. I love it, man. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
100%.
I love you. I'm glad the podcast, hopefully it turns out as good as I hope it does. And hope it reaches the people that it's supposed to reach.
100%, absolutely. Guys, I don't think there's a better challenge for this week that's better than where can you pick up responsibility in your life? And not just pick it up, but really carry it excellently. Carry it as Jesus carried the cross.
Yep.
Where can you lead? And don't just lead as a boss, lead as a real leader. Connect to people. So what's somebody around you, whether it be in your work, whether it be in your life, whether it be in your home, that you can really make a deep and meaningful connection to. And if you do have a deep and meaningful connection to them, make it deeper, make it even more meaningful. How can you connect to at least one more person this week on a deeper level than you ever would have before? I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys got a lot out of this long podcast episode, and I will see you guys next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Living for His Glory. I had such an amazing time making it, and I really hope it connected and impacted you on a significant level. I love making and recording episodes like these. I truly believe that they fulfill the Living for His Glory mission, which is to help you break free of your worldly chains and step into the person that God has called you to be. I love you guys. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I hope that it changes something about how you do this week. I hope you have a good day and a good week as we continue to get ready for next week's episode. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you later.